Welcome to the Fantasy Boardroom. As always, I am your host and fantasy CEO, Tycoon. Do want to apologize for missing last week, and I know this is not why any of you are here, but I just have to say it because, well, it's my show, my channel, and I feel like I want to and need to do this, and that is give you the reason why I wasn't here. Unfortunately, my beloved dog Lincecum was ill last week. Took him in. They found a tumor, inoperable, and unfortunately, he deteriorated quickly. We had to put him down. It's been a very tough week for me. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, there was no way I could focus on doing a fantasy show with all that going on. And I also bring it up just to publicly give a little love to my boy, my dog, Lincecum. He was the best dog, and I'm gonna miss him. And all of you that have pets, just make sure you're taking good care of them. Make sure they're getting checked on regularly, and love every minute that you have with them. Much like your family, friends, pets are part of that too. Just remember. But we are here now to talk about fantasy. We've got Dem Boys in the house. What is up, Dem Boys? Stoked you are here. And you know what? Rooting for you boys this week hard and unashamed. Let's go. Need Dallas to come out with a big dub. That would be a beautiful sight to see this Sunday night. What's not going to be a beautiful sight is, this upcoming game that we have tomorrow night in the Patriots and the Steelers. I appreciate it there, Dem Boys. You know, that's life. He gave us 12 great years. I hope we gave him 12 great years in return. He was a good boy. But yeah, tomorrow night we have Mitch Trubisky and Bailey Zappi facing off in the Steel City. The Steelers are heavy favorites, minus 258 on the money line, 6-point favorites on the spread, and the over-under is the lowest, I believe I heard today, the lowest in 30 years, 30 points. And I'm still thinking the under. Honestly, I think the only way the over hits is with defensive touchdowns, and with these QBs playing, that is very much in play. But I might put a little sprinkle on the under just to feel alive during this game, because I know we're at the point of the season where we're saying cherish all the football. You know, we'd be begging for this game in April, but I don't know if we'll be begging for this one. This is going to be nasty. Fantasy-wise, literally not a single player that I would play, especially on the precipice of the playoffs. If you're in a position where you need to win this week to be in, do not rely even on Najee, Jalen Warren, Deontay Johnson. No. Zeke, no. I mean, I am in a game with an over-under of 30. Stay far away, and we'll spend no more time on the punishment that we are to receive tomorrow evening. We move to the first of the Sunday early slate, and that is the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Los Angeles Rams. Ravens, again, prohibitive favorites, minus 325 on the money lines, full touchdown favorites at 7 points on the spread. Over-under is 40 points. This is, I think, a spot that the Ravens are going to absolutely crush in. There could be some weather, which is why I think we're seeing the over-under only at 40. I expect it to be a little bit higher. Puka took a big shot in last week. I thought he was done for the year. Turns out he was okay. He came out and had a 30-yard run after. So I hope he's okay. Then sprained AC is what the diagnosis was. So I'm curious to see how he's going to fare against this Ravens defense. Same with Cooper Kupp, who has not exactly been popping lately. Stafford had a big week against the Browns defense, which was quite surprising. It's a very good defense, but still friendly confines of home. I don't think the Ravens will be quite that same pushover. Conversely, the Rams gave up 19 even to Joe Flacco and a Nick Chubb-less Browns offense. So Lamar at home, I think, is going to do plenty of slicing and dicing, both with his legs and through the air. So I am all about starting Lamar in this game. I would start Odell Beckham Jr. in this game, as a matter of fact. I would start Isaiah Likely in this game. The Rams are sixth worst against the tight end position. My God, in fantasy this year. And I would also start Gus Edwards in this game. Keaton Mitchell is in play if you are in a desperate spot and maybe need to try to hit a possible home run. If there's a guy who could pop for 20 plus offensively, I think, obviously beyond Lamar, he'd be the most likely with a big player too. And on the Rams side, frankly, Kyron Williams is where I'm really sticking with. I'd probably still have a hard time benching Cooper Kupp or Puka even in this matchup. If you're Puka, you probably have a better chance if you drafted him or picked him up off waivers. You may have some better options. Kupp probably not so much with your roster build. And that's it. I would not start Matthew Stafford in this game. Kyron Williams is really the only confident start. Kupp and Puka likely just because you can't sit them. Texans and Jets is what we move to, with the Jets reinserting Zach Wilson, who apparently at first was like, nah, bro, I'm good. But I don't really believe that report. I have a hard time believing that somebody with aspirations to continue in the NFL, especially at the quarterback position, would actively turn down an opportunity to start a game against anybody, regardless of all the BS that's gone on by the Jets. I'm not even a huge Zach Wilson fan these days. I was hopeful and optimistic for him coming out. BYU fan, so I had hope, but what are you going to do? Not everybody is cut out for this. But that said, with him still having an opportunity, I can't see any scenario where he or anybody else would say no. The Texans have lost Tank Dell, likely for the season. So that is going to be interesting to see how that affects the offense, especially going up against one of the league's best, if not the league's best overall defense in New York. And on the road, I'm really intrigued by this game, as odd as it sounds. Texans are big favorites, minus 198 on the money line, 3.5-point favorites here on the road. Over-under is only 33.5, so obviously they're still expecting little from the New York offense, and deservedly so. But it also means they're expecting the Jets defense to also continue to clamp down, especially against the Tank Dell-less Texans. So on the Jets, I would still start Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, with Wilson being reinserted into the lineup. With Tim Boyle or somebody else back there, I have no desire. But with Zach Wilson, I think he can offer just enough to keep those guys viable. And on the Texan side, obviously, you're still starting Stroud. I'm starting Nico Collins. I am starting Dalton Schultz if he is active. I have no interest in that backfield currently. Again, with the playoffs possibly on the line for many of you this week, don't play Pierce, don't play Singletary. I'd really just be looking at Stroud and Nico. And even then, I think their ceiling is limited this week in this matchup. But they're guys I would have a very hard time leaving on my bench this week. Now we move to the NFC North. Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears hosting Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, who are big favorites. I thought might be bigger favorites, minus 180 favorites here on the road, 3.5 points on the spread. Very similar to the Texans over the Jets. Texans are actually bigger favorites. And an over-under of 43.5 points. Much more offense expected here, and I certainly agree with that. Let's dive in. The Bears, Justin Fields, yes, fire him up against the Lions. The running back situation is always messy here, and this is once again, I'm going to repeat this a lot tonight. Playoffs on the line. I'm not playing Herbert, Roschon, or Foreman, any of them in this backfield. I am going to stick with Fields. I am going to stick with DJ Moore, and I am going to stick with Cole Kmet. I will ride with Cole Kmet here at home against the Lions. As a matter of fact, I want to check something while we're here. It's something I should have done beforehand. But they did have a game earlier this year. Yeah, Kmet didn't do much a few weeks ago. Only 3 catches for 20 yards, but I don't expect that to be the same situation when they return. Field, Moore and Kmet is really all he's got, and I'm going to continue to lean on that. And the Lions defense has been vulnerable across the board of late. And on the Lions side, the Bears defense has improved, especially since Montez Sweat showed up. It's a real defense now. That said, I'm still not afraid to throw Jared Goff out there. Yeah, give me Goff, give me Brown, give me Monty, give me Gibbs. I'm still playing everybody. Laporta. As improved as the Bears defense has been, I'm still not scared of him. Neither are you. fire up your Lions. And they're also going to be looking to put in a strong performance this week. So go Lions. Fire them up. Buccaneers and Falcons. Hmm. NFC South disaster. Falcons are minus 118 favorites, barely at home. Only 1 point favorites at home. So neutral field would mean they believe the Bucks are the better team and over under of 39.5 points. I like the Buccaneers in this match. The Falcons are undefeated in their division so far. But no, Mike Evans is just on a tear, and I think he'll be the difference here against Atlanta. Uh, you know what? I got to take that back. I believe that the Tampa Bay offense is going to be fine here against Atlanta, but man, the Tampa Bay defense has really regressed, really been poor. And as much as I want to bash Smith, the Falcons, for virtually everything about the way he runs that team and that offense, I can't look past the talent, even with Desmond Ritter and Arthur Smith running the show here. So I take that back. I'm actually probably leaning towards Falcons money line here, minus 118, and also leaning towards the over of 39.5, even though it's slightly shaded towards the under on the betting line. Fantasy wise, starting Bijan Robinson, no doubt. I would start Drake London here, and I would start Kyle Pitts here. I would start the big three, that three-headed monster, and on the Tampa Bay side, I would start Rashad White, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin is one of those guys you probably don't have a better option. Not somebody I'm particularly confident in going into this matchup and with the playoffs on the line. So Godwin's maybe flex worthy, but hopefully, if you've been riding with him throughout the season and been honestly largely disappointed, you will have already found some reinforcements there and have a little more depth that you can afford to leave Godwin on the bench. He's a guy I'd be trying to find a way to get on my bench if possible this week and just ride with White and Evans. Panthers and Saints, another NFC South disaster of game. Derek Carr is still in concussion protocol for the Saints, so it could be the famous Jameis show, and good Lord, I hope it is. No disrespect to Derek Carr. I certainly don't want him to be concussed, but I just hope, they need that one extra day to clear him so we get to see Jameis out there. That I think would mean good things for Chris Olave, not so much for Alvin Kamara. And it would mean, I think, good things for Taysom Hill. And speaking of Taysom Hill, I'm going to pause right here, a little plug. I was on the Fantasy Fan Line last night with my boys Sanchi and Sinker. Great guys. Really, it was a blast to do the show with them. A lot of great questions, and Taysom got brought up, so that was kind of the recall. But please make sure, I'll get a link in there later on, but go search the Fantasy Fan Line. Go give them a follow. Sanchi, Sinker, great guys, great show, great advice, great times. You'll very much enjoy the experience watching their program. So back to this game. So on the Saints side, if Carr starts, well, it doesn't really matter, but let's put it this way. You're starting Kamara and Olave regardless, and honestly, I think you're starting Taysom Hill regardless. If Carr starts, your big game for Olave, less for Kamara. Other way around. If Carr starts, a bigger game for Kamara, it limits Olave a little more. Although he's even been producing well with Carr of late. He's been heating up. If Jameis starts, it's really going to limit Kamara. Jameis doesn't really check down. That receiving work is going to be in shorter supply for Alvin. So if you're really counting on Kamara to have a big game, you better hope Carr starts. If you're hoping for a bigger game from Olave, you got to hope Jameis starts. And for Taysom Hill, you're hoping Jameis starts, because if that happens, they're more likely to work him in on more gadget plays. He'll be manufactured even more touches than he typically is. So in the tight end realm, I mean, Taysom's a weekly starter at this stage regardless, but the ceiling goes up if Jameis is the one under center. Bengals and Colts. Well, what do we have here? Jake Browning, 354 or 357 yards last week on Monday Night Football. Holy smokes. I did not see that coming. What a game. What a performance. And in this matchup that is considered dead even with the Colts, where they are both minus 110 on the money line, and the over-under is 44. I think it continues. Indy's pass defense is ass defense. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are A-plus receivers. Higgins, first week back last week, be a little more back up to speed this week. I don't see how the Colts secondary is going to slow them down, even with Browning at the controls. And honestly, Browning was looking sharp last week. I think this is another matchup we'll have an opportunity to exploit, especially at home in Cincinnati. So honestly, I'm firing up Jake Browning this week. I think he's a top 12 quarterback this week. Insane. Well, I gotta do 4 more weeks, but he's going to be pushing that top 12 to 15. He'll be right there. So if you're in a spot, you just lost Trevor Lawrence, Jake Browning's your guy. You can fire him up. I'd fire up Joe Mixon, fire up Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and that's it from the Bengals. And on Indy side, honestly, fire up the core guys as well. I am not afraid to start Minshew in this spot either. I would obviously hope you have better options in 1 QB. In Superflex 2 QB, I mean, virtually every quarterback is startable. So if you even have 3 to be choosing from, you're in a luxury already, because not every team in the 12-team league can even do that. So Minshew is, again, obvious Superflex starter, borderline 1 QB starter this week. Michael Pittman, yes. Zach Moss, yes. All those guys, core guys. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one. Get ready for it. It should be surprisingly fun. Now, this game is pushing Steelers-Patriots territory. Cleveland Browns hosting Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns hosting C.J. Beathard and the Jacksonville Jaguars. At least so we expect. Technically, Peterson has not ruled out Trevor Lawrence for this Sunday, but he has a high ankle sprain. And the Browns being minus 166 favorites and the over-under being 30.5 in this game tells you that Trevor will not be out there. I think the Browns will win this game for that reason. I would look to parlay this money line. I think it should be bigger. Definitely should be. Over-under could go either way here. I wouldn't mess with that. I would start fantasy-wise, I would start literally the running backs. Jerome Ford and Travis Etienne. I would not start anybody else. The only other desperation flex play I might consider here is Elijah Moore. Amari Cooper is in concussion protocol himself. Don't know if he'll be out there. I don't anticipate he'll be out there this week. Elijah Moore and Joe Flacco have a connection that stems from New York in their time with the Jets. Again, if you need a home run, desperate flex, something that you got to really try and pop to beat a difficult opponent to get into the playoffs this week, Elijah Moore is definitely in consideration there. I would be comfortable gambling on him. Otherwise, just Ford and Etienne. I think this is going to be an ugly game in general. And also, I should add, Elijah Moore PPR only. Woo! Now we move to some real teams. Yeah. We move to the best team in the league, by far the best team in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Biggest betting discrepancy on the board. For this Sunday, the 49ers are minus 600 favorite and 10.5 point favorites on the spread. Over under is 47. Simply put, start every 49er. Start Purdy, start McCaffrey, start Ayuk, start Debo, start Kittle. And that is true every single week, but especially at home against the Seahawks club that just got, smoked by the Dallas offense. And on the Seahawks side, I am not excited to start anybody. I'm certainly not starting Geno. I'm not starting Charbonnet or Walker, if Walker plays. And now that gets us to the receiver conundrum of Lockett, DK, and JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. We saw that even in a domination of a performance by the 49ers against Philadelphia last week, that even in the face of that, 2 receivers can still put up really good fantasy performances against the 49ers team. And A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith did just that against us while being embarrassed. So I can't rule out DK and Lockett here to do something similar, and I'm really thinking more of Lockett is the guy that is going to have a chance to pop off from a fantasy perspective against us. You're not going to sit DK. Nobody's going to sit DK after 3 touchdowns last week, and understandably so. He's a guy again, though I would really only have in like flex range this week. Same thing with Lockett, but I'm slightly more optimistic for Lockett this particular Sunday. And those are the only 2 Seahawks I'd consider, and would be praying I have better options. If you roster DK, you almost certainly don't have a way to keep him on your bench. And Lockett, there's a lot more variability with those rosters, so he's a guy that I would probably look for better options, but if he ends up in the flex, I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that heading into this final matchup before the playoffs. Vikings and Raiders, another fun one. So Vikings are minus 155 favorites heading into the desert here, and 3-point favorites on the spread. Over under is 40. They have decided to stick with Josh Dobbs, the pastronaut, for this matchup versus Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders. This is an intriguing one because, Dobbs had been exciting and fantasy-wise had been producing up until this past week against the Chicago Bears, or a couple weeks ago before their bye. So it's going to be interesting to see how he worked with Kevin O'Connell over the past 2 weeks, especially with Justin Jefferson also returning for the Minnesota Vikings, and how that looks. So I love their spot. This is actually another one where I feel like the line should be a little bit more, and I would parlay Vikings with Browns and get a nice little. Matter of fact, I am going to make that official here in the boardroom tonight. Vikings and Browns moneyline parlay is plus 163. I would hit that. I would definitely hit that. And I'm actually going to as soon as the show is over. So yeah, I think there's a lot to like about the Vikings in this game. Now their pass defense is still not good, so that spells good things for Aiden O'Connell, Jacoby Myers, and Devontae Adams. So we'll just dig into fantasy. I'm not sitting Josh Jacobs. That simple. So you're starting Jacobs, you're starting Devontae Adams. I'm not sitting Devontae Adams. And this is one where I would start Jacoby Myers. I'd been hesitant with him, with Aiden O'Connell under center, but they seem to have finally found a little chemistry between themselves. Now, I do expect Adams to get just peppered with targets in this one. So I'm also going to look for Devontae Adams over on his yards and reception. I got to check those props. So make sure, we'll go over this again at the end. You follow the Discord, go join the server, and you can get there all of my NFL prop picks. Now, they haven't been that great this season. Full disclosure, you can see the record. It's all posted. I've taken a couple weeks off from prop picks specifically for that reason, just to reset. But we will be back at it this week. And certainly look for Devontae Adams overs in this one. And on the Viking side, I would start Josh Dobbs. Again, I have him kind of in that Browning Minshew area. He's probably going to be in that, low end QB1, very high end QB2. So once again, if you've lost Trevor Lawrence, he's available. Probably not, but you never know. Or if you had Trevor Lawrence and this was a guy you had picked up for depth, well, then you can still feel okay. He'll have a good week this week. So you can start Dobbs. I'm less interested in Madison, so I'm finding a way to keep him on the bench. Justin Jefferson, yes. Jordan Addison, yes. KJ Osborne, no. TJ Hawkinson, yes. I do think we'll be back to some success for the Vikings offense this week. So fire up those top 3 pass catchers and Josh Dobbs. Now we get, there's 2 games of the week this week. And actually this one, you know what? It's relegated to number 2. This is the second best game of the week, which is insane to say, because we have Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills rolling into Arrowhead to face the Chiefs in Kansas City. The Chiefs are slight favorites here on the money line, minus 122, 1.5-point favorites here at home. And the over-under is 48.5. Give me that over. I know what the Chiefs offenses look like of late, but man, when you get Allen and Mahomes together, these games tend to be magical, and I'm hoping and praying that it happens again. Isaiah Pacheco may not be there for the Chiefs. So that will be something to monitor. You may want to go pick up Clyde Edwards-Helaire if he is still available, just in case. So it's fantasy, though. Outside of Mahomes and Kelsey, it's so hard to be confident in anybody on the offense. You're not starting MVS, you know that. We're not starting Kadarius Toney, you know that. It's Rashee Rice. Has to be. Again, keep expectations somewhat limited, but I think Rashee Rice is going to score in this game, so that's also going to be another prop you'll probably see on my channel. Is going to be Rashee Rice anytime touchdown. But yeah, so that's who I'm firing up this week on the Chiefs side. Mahomes, Kelsey, Rice, and Pacheco if he's healthy. CEH, probably not, but I don't want anybody else to have him. That's why I would advise you to go pick him up. And on the Bills side, even though the Kansas City defense has been strong this season, I still expect Allen and Mahomes to show out in this one. So give me Josh Allen. Give me Stephon Diggs. Give me Dalton Kincaid. I'm not taking the Gabe Davis gamble this week. No. Now, if you've been playing him every single week this week or this season, on that and riding that roller coaster, no reason to jump off now. But I would much rather not. And I would actually even play James Cook in this one. I think he is going to have to make an impact for them to win this game, and they're going to try to find ways for him to do so. So I'm firing up the lot on the Bills offense. Mahomes, Kelsey, Rice, and Pacheco if he's healthy. And then Allen, Diggs, Kincaid, and Cook. No Davis. No Shakir. This is the big boy matchup here. That's what this is. And now we move to elsewhere in the AFC West. We shift over to the West Coast, Southern California, where I am. The Los Angeles Chargers host the Denver Broncos, minus 142 favorites. The Chargers are 2.5-point favorites on the spread, over under a 44. The Broncos have been very strong of late. I mean, go figure. The Broncos, they did lose last week. However, they won 5 in a row before that. They really had gotten on a roll. Peyton and Wilson seem to have found something. The defense drastically improved from early on. That 70-point drubbing of Miami really makes it look worse than it was. But they still can be run on. However, in this matchup, the running back, Austin Eckler, has not exactly been impressing as a runner of late. I hate to say, in fact, he looks kind of washed of late, which sucks. And I hope it's just really a dry spell. I'm not counting Austin Eckler out all the way yet. Don't get me wrong. I am not going to prematurely jump to that because on this show, we love Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler is our friend. We're also heavily invested in Austin Eckler, so we need him to do well. Regardless. Well, not regardless. That combination, the fact that we like him and we're invested in him, you root extra hard. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for a bounce back for him, actually. So, we will dive in fantasy. Justin Herbert, I just would have a hard time thinking of 11 other quarterbacks that I would feel more comfortable starting ahead of him, even in the situation we're in. I'm hoping this is where Eckler finally helps him out a bit in that regard. Because Keenan Allen is going to have his work cut out for him. Also a guy you just can't bench. I would never bench Keenan Allen. But he is going to have his work cut out for him against Patrick Surtain. You can't start Quentin Johnston. You can't start Josh Palmer. Gerald Everett, you can. So it's really Herbert, Eckler, Allen. And I would start Gerald Everett, just get another piece of this offense. On the Broncos side, I would start Russ. Chargers defense stinks. Cortland Sutton, who I would also start, I think is going to have little trouble getting open. So going into this playoff eve matchup, I would love to have Cortland Sutton on my team. Javonte Williams, I would love to roll out this particular matchup. Jerry Jeudy, pass. Really, anybody else outside of those three. Russ, I have no interest in. No P. Ryan, no McLaughlin. Yeah, no Sutton, no Judy, no Mims. That's who I'd stay away from. So give me Herbert, give me Eckler, give me Allen, give me Everett, give me Wilson, give me Williams, and give me Sutton. Love Sutton this week. And that allows us to move to the actual game of the week this week. The one that we will all be watching, the one that has the most significance this week in terms of the NFL playoff picture, in particular the NFC playoff picture. And that is the Dallas Cowboys. How about them boys? Hosting the crushed Philadelphia Eagles at AT&T Stadium. And Dallas is a heavy favorite, minus 192 on the money line, 3.5 point spread here at home, and an over-under of 52 points, which deserved because Philly can't stop the pass, and Dak is passing like an MVP. So, let's say Dak and CD are about to have a very nice day. I think Jake Ferguson is going to have a nice day as well. Those linebackers are, yeah. Ferguson is low key one of my favorite tight ends this week. And this show will make no attempt to be unbiased. From a 49ers perspective, let's go Cowboys. We need Dallas to win this game. That would catapult the 49ers to first place in the NFC via tiebreaker, having beaten, and when I say beaten, I mean beaten both of these teams. Just took them to the shed. Drubbings, not even close. So beautiful. So, by virtue of that, all three of these teams would then be 9-3, and 49ers would be on top in pole position for that first round bye, which would be lovely, and home field throughout. So, you're firing up Dak, no doubt. I'm firing up Pollard in this one, too. The Eagles actually have a strong run defense, but I think they're a little bit demoralized now. I don't think it's been quite the same this year. I haven't looked into it, but last year, almost every single team that the 49ers played lost the following week. Just that physical of a team, and certainly left our mark on Philadelphia. I think they're going to be going in banged up and beat down into this game against Dallas. So I'm not afraid to put Pollard out there. I'm starting CeeDee Lamb, I'm starting Brandon Cooks, and I'm starting Jake Ferguson. I love Ferguson this week. I think he's got a top 5 week incoming. And on the Eagles side, you're never, for fantasy, you're never sitting Hurts. You're never sitting AJ Brown. That's now DeAndre Swift. Now, it's no secret how we feel about Swift over here. Did we get any update on him today? He practiced. Practice on Wednesday. La 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 la. Appears he'll be free of an injury designation. Beautiful. So Swift's good to go. So I would fire up Swift here, no doubt. I would fire up Smith. Dallas Goedert may be back. I would be less interested to go for Goddard in his first game back here. There's going to be tons of points here, though. The Dallas defense, while good, also has its vulnerabilities, as we saw what Seattle did to him last week. DK hooked him for 3 touchdowns. They put up 35 on him. And the Eagles certainly have the personnel to do something similar. Now, I don't think we'll get 41-35 or whatever the hell we saw last week, but I think we're going to get a high-flying matchup. And for fantasy purposes, it should treat us all well. You could rely on everybody you normally do and have extra hope for guys like Ferguson and Cooks. And it appears no reason to be concerned about DeAndre Swift, who just got absolutely rocked by Deontay Lador at the end of that game. And because it was right at the end of the game, we really hadn't seen much since. So good to know that he isn't looking like he's going to carry a designation into the weekend. Anthony in the house. What up, sir? Thank you. Appreciate the condolences regarding Lincecum. He was the best. Just want the world to know. That's why I had to bring it up earlier. He deserves that. He deserves all the praise that I or anybody else may ever heap upon him. All right. And wait a second. Did I miss this somehow? We have 2 Monday night games? At the same time? Wait, what? I knew the Packers and Giants. What the hell? Dolphins and Titans? It says Monday? I am. Why do we have two Monday night games on the 11th? What the hell is this? I apologize for the show. I didn't even realize this. Why are they both on Monday? All right. Well, God, neither of them's even particularly good. Jesus. So truly the biggest favorite on the board here, though, in this week 14 is actually the Dolphins over the Titans, minus 850 on the money line, the 13-point favorites. Over under is 46.5. Start Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans. That's it. We'll just keep it simple. I'm not even excited about it, but I would. On the Dolphins side, also not hesitant about anybody. I fire up Tua, fire up Mostert, fire up A-Chain, fire up Hill. Waddle, honestly, no. He just hasn't done enough. So that's the guy I would stay away from here. And Packers and Giants. Tommy DeVito and Jordan Love, who, I swear to God, if this guy's good, what? If Jordan Love is actually good, I'm just going to be so pissed off. I still don't truly believe. I know he's looked good of late. I need to see more still. Saw enough bad thus far that I need to see more good. But man, if they nail a third one in a row, Green Bay, there needs to be an investigation. The Giants are big home underdogs. Packers are minus 285 favorites on the money line and 6.5-point favorites here. The full touchdown on the road. Yeah, even Rasta didn't realize this. Do this at the beginning of the year. What the hell is? I'm like, so just I can't get past this. This makes no sense, and they're not even staggered. This is insane. Why? I got to do some research into why the fuck this is happening. Anyways, Green Bay and Giants. This is not over under 36.5, so not going to be a ton here. Giants wise, Saquon, man, that's it. It's that simple. As long as DeVito is under center, and I know he's been able to do a little something. I'm only comfortable with Barkley, and that's just what it's going to be. On the Packers side, I'm not firing up Love. God, I'm really not interested. See, we don't know if Christian Watson's going to play. I don't think he's going to. I still wouldn't even play Love, though. I don't know, just not. We don't know if Aaron Jones is going to play. So we really have injuries to monitor in this one on the Packers side. But put it to you this way. Most likely, the only guy I'm really going to be into playing here is going to be Romeo Doubs. A.J. Dillon, if there is no Aaron Jones, I would play Aaron Jones if he plays, and there's no discussion of any, easing him back in, snap count, any of that nonsense. Christian Watson, I probably wouldn't even play if he plays, but I don't think he's going to. And Jayden Reed might be able to go for a big play, but that would be truly a desperation play. So Packers TBD. Just know the two for sure plays here, Romeo and Barkley. That's what we need from this one. And that is what will do it here for us tonight. Whew. 2 games on Monday. What? Good God. Get back to me on that one. Anyways, thank you for joining me. Appreciate being here. Not much in the way of props yet. Trying to wait a little longer, so they're going to be less frequent. As long as the show is on Wednesdays, there'll be more on the Discord. But please, follow the link below. Go join the Discord. We'll get some props out. We did give you one money line parlay, and that is the Browns money line parlayed with the Vikings money line. I think those were, again, 163? Yeah, plus 163. So that'll be a nice little one. And those lines are courtesy of DraftKings. And if you are going to play any props, please do so at Underdog and use my code ROGUE, ROGUE. Same thing on Prize Picks, code ROGUE as your referral code on either of those sites. If you sign up, use the code. They will match your first deposit up to $100, which means you can get a free $100 from both. I told you how to get 200 free dollars. Please go do it. Please use the code. And on Sleeper, you can use the code RF-FF underscore Tycoon as the referral code. And they will do the same for you. They will match your first deposit up to $25. So I just actually told you how to get free $225. And then if you go to the Discord server, there'll be picks. You can use that to make even more money. Also, if you happen to enjoy English Premier League soccer, football, I just got to say soccer, so we're talking fantasy football here. We get picks out for those too. Those have been profitable this year. Really nice. We've been doing good. So go check those out as well. And of course, follow me on Twitter at FF underscore Tycoon. Lastly, pay attention to all of those platforms because in the coming days, likely before the end of the week, there is going to be a big announcement about me, about my show, about the Discord, about a lot of things. So stay tuned. In the meantime, this meeting of the Fantasy Boardroom is adjourned.